Well, I got originally involved in Touring Car Masters because I just love the category in the sense that they're big horsepower cars, they're under-tied, they're really under-braked, and at the risk of sounding like I'm romancing a bit going back to my youth, I can remember quite clearly as being, probably a 15-year-old and go and watch Bob Jane and his HQ 350, and I think prior to that his Monaro, and I've always had that sort of thing in the back of my mind that I'd love to probably eventually do a car like that. But this is a big, ugly, nasty car that goes nearly 300 k's at Bathurst. So that's probably the motivation, you know, and it's they're just a lot of fun to drive. The racing itself is very, very close. Look, the organisers, the directors have done a very good job in organising the parity of the class. Because the rules are pretty level playing field, it gives people like myself, if they've got the drive and you need plenty of drive, it gives us the possibility to be able to be competitive with people of the likes of Jim Richards and John Bowe. As a privateer in this category and with aspirations and at times to be able to challenge the professional guys, it is quite difficult. I mean, we work, you know, in these sort of circumstances working from home. I'm not aware of anyone else in the category that's doing that. So most of the guys have either got factories or they've got a business whereby they've got the car parked in the corner of a factory. We were doing it all after hours, okay? I've got my friend Bill Williams, who was a former Al Moffat mechanic, giving me a hand with the car. He's here all the time, just about every night after work. So without him, we couldn't be doing it, number one. I suppose the upside for us as a privateer is that I can crawl out of here from 11 o'clock and go upstairs and go to bed, and that's the end of that day. Obviously, the downside is that you haven't got the CNC machines and the right level of equipment. So that means that you've got to go use outside people sometimes along the way. Look, the future of the TCM category is very, very bright. It's driven by people that are, I guess, motor racing savvy. They understand where we've come from and where we need to be in the future. I mean, one of the things that really appeals to me about the category is that we're constantly we get people 3 or 4 deep sometimes, especially around the car at Bathurst, and you'll get people that'll come up and say, I bought one of these new in 1971. But that's what drives the passion. If we open up Pandora's box and we increase the age limit, and let's say we went to 1978 or 1980, those cars, really, they're a better mousetrap, they're a better platform to start with. So potentially that can mean that people running the older type car could be prejudiced against. And if that makes our cars a little bit less competitive, well, clearly we've got a very expensive car that, you know, we're only filling the grid in with. And I'm sure myself and Jim and John, we wouldn't want to be in that boat, you know. So the car we run in the category is the 1971 HQ Monaro GTS 350 coupe. Don't tell anyone it started life as a 6-cylinder car. But it's running a 350 Chev. As I said earlier, built by Neil Burns. It's putting out around 615, 620 horsepower. It runs a 9-inch Ford diff in the back of it. It's a fabricated housing. We run performance friction brakes on the car. It runs a 4-speed dog box, which is a Tex racing gearbox. It runs the Mini Light sort of copy wheels, and like everyone else in the category, it runs on the Hoosier tyre. It was a rusted out body shell that had been sitting in a paddock for 5 years. So we spent hundreds of hours just getting it back to a pristine shell before we started turning it into a race car. We've had a 100% finishing record on this car, so we're pretty proud of our finishing record. In terms of what the sponsors bring to the series, I think the best news we've had this year and probably for the last 2 or 3 years, if I can say that, to have NZ on board brings back a whole new connection back into motorsport. People will recall they were back with Perkins in 85 or 86. Well, they're back, and I think we're all rapt to have them back with Touring Car Masters for 2014.